Hey everybody, it's Dr. Connie here. Welcome to my show, Mind Your Health. And my name again is Dr. Connie. And if you have not done so, please subscribe to our podcast, Mind Your Health, as well as my YouTube channel, Dr. Connie Cheung. And you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Connie Cheung. I'm doing better on social media platforms. I plan to be there a lot more. And I really look forward to your DMs and connecting with you there. Today, I want to talk to you guys about something that even I get confused about. It's about the confusion of foods. There's so many scientists and well-renowned researchers coming out with all kinds of different diets, and you can't ignore the medical medium who seems to know all the wisdom behind food. I lean into these things and I'm super interested in knowing all the things, but I try so hard not to get dogmatically controlled by a certain way or a certain perspective. And today I just want to challenge you to really lean into who you are and really understand what your body needs as opposed to what the world thinks you should need and want to eat. Because the more you chase the next best thing based on other people's expertise, the more lost you're going to be. The truth is, food science is really young. And I've been studying nutrition since 1995. It's been a long time. And the pendulum always swings one way or the other. The more I learn, the more you don't know how to eat. And the more the truth is too that today there's so much more progressive things coming into the market, and many people have gas issues, many people have this issue and that issue with when it comes to nutrition, so much so that now everything's becoming desiccated and formulated into supplements. And when people talk about no processed foods, when there is a whole industry of supplements over here that's completely processed to tell us what we need and to prevent us from eating real foods. How can we eat real foods when we have digestive issues? All these things are up for debate, right? I'm all about really strengthening you and your gut and priming your body to enable you to eat like you should be able to eat. There is no demonizing of foods. There's a certain level of toxicity that we're designed to tolerate. And I don't want us to overthink the food and obsess over the food, because when that happens, I've been there. You take away all the foods, you can get so obsessive that food becomes the center, and then it becomes the depression. It becomes everything in your life to where you just fear eating all the time, and you have different physiological effects, and you just kind of get what you expect, and you just become sick all the time, and there is no solution. Here's the thing that I do want to tell you is that as sick as I've been with my autoimmunity, there are times when I've adhered to strict guidelines of the best practices of certain diets, still didn't work. Took the best supplements, still didn't do anything when I'm going through a flare. When you're going through a flare, you're going to need different set of nutritions. And no matter what the doctors or the holistic medical doctors or anybody else said was good for me, I couldn't tolerate it. What am I going to do if I can't eat the thing, right? I had nausea, was vomiting, and I just couldn't stomach anything. And when that happens, it doesn't matter what we know to be true and good if we can't tolerate it. I know there are many of you who can't eat because you just can't eat. You don't have the appetite, just like me. The nausea kind of ensues. And you just you're just like wasting away and you're scared to death. And then the doctor gives you solution. Nutritionist gives you the solution, and the herbalists give you the solution, but you're at a loss for exactly what you need because you're so scared, because the only person who's paying for this is you. Nobody seems to really understand what you need, paying all this money for all these services, and yet you can't get it right. And yet you read about all these people who follow medical medium, who get healed. That's not you. Can't follow that diet. And the moment you introduce or even remotely think about celery juice, you start to gag. And then there are other people who are going through autoimmune paleo, and you see testimonials upon testimonials of what it's doing for them, and you wonder why it's not working for you. And then you read about all the benefits of plant-based foods, and then you wonder why it's making you so sick that whenever you follow the plant-based. And so deep inside, you're like at a loss for what are you supposed to do? And intermittent fasting seems really good, except it's not intermittent, but it's like fasting all the time because you'd much rather not eat because it's so uncomfortable to eat. All the gas it produces and the fatigue and all the things that you read about actually comes to fruition as symptoms. I wonder why. There is such a thing as what you expect is what you get, right? And so I really avoid my patients, or try to make my patients avoid reading about all the things, overthinking, because that's exactly what it's going to do for them. The moment you think plant-based is a food for you that's going to be healing, it might work for a little bit until your biochemistry, your physiological response sets in to say, nope, it doesn't work. I need something better. You might follow through with autoimmune paleo and good for as long as it's worked for you until you hit that roadblock and it doesn't work for you anymore. And so you're at a loss for what to do and you're seeking all the answers. This is all because you haven't really truly learned the principles and you haven't really tuned into intuitively what your body needs. So that's what I want to talk to you about. I don't want to give you another diet. I'm here to tell you food is not your problem. It's your body. And so we want to equip our body to be primed and ready to receive whatever it is that we can take. The food, we want to be able to have freedom with food and be able to really learn to eat those foods. But first, we have to understand what food is, what it does, rather than really being stuck in overwhelm. So I just really want to invite you to erase all you think you know, all the things that you've trusted, and then really listen to this as if it's your first time learning about nutrition. Remember, food science is rather young. Okay. There are broken parts and pieces of the micronutrients when we talk about supplements, focusing on just the B12 or the vitamin D3 or the omegas. All those things are good. Don't get me wrong. But it's only in the context of a healthy ecosystem, healthy people. But for us who are autoimmune compromised, we can build that to make sure, but we can't do it if we think we need substrates, take supplements, and not know anything about food, not know what your body needs. We don't master this mind body, then forget everything you know, all the diet and everything that you quote unquote blindly follow will only work until it doesn't. And I don't want you to end up in that scenario because I've been there many, many times. So I want to kind of go over some key things I want you to consider. You may want to write this down, but we're going to have this typed up in a worksheet so that you can have these principles that you can refer to at all times. Number one, hunger signals. Lean into them. What are hunger signals? It's not your cravings. It's not a craving for carrot cake. Okay. I want you to really know what hunger signal is. It's when your stomach is growling. You haven't eaten for extended hours and your stomach is growling. You're feeling fatigued, a little lightheaded, maybe low energy. There's a little bit of shakiness. You've got to get some food in. I want you to really understand what that is. Okay, not necessarily that I want you to feel that hunger signal. I want you to eat just before that, kind of understand when your body does start to signal you. Second thing is discern between hunger signals and your cravings. Okay, there are sometimes unrelenting desire for certain foods when we're stressed. So we want to kind of lean in to know what they are. It's important to understand at that given moment, when you want that ice cream or that, carrot cake or chocolate cake, whatever it is that you tend to want, I want you to think about, what am I feeling right now? What just happened? And rather than really succumbing to numb that feeling, I want you to feel that feeling, whatever it is, and really stay fresh and really be aware of what it's doing to your physiology. Okay. Number 3, when you do tune into those emotions, don't eat if you're feeling super sad, super happy, or super depressed, or super anxious. Something where it's a polarizing emotion. And especially it's negative, I don't want you to eat. I want you to just tune in and really be silent with your mind and really lean into that feeling and be into that. And that's how you're going to kind of learn what your response is. Because it's not really you responding to that signal, it's you reacting to it to avoid feeling the thing. And that's when we get into trouble, and that becomes a habitual thing. We want to break that pattern. It's going to be the most powerful thing that you ever do. Number 4 is when you do eat, I want you to chew your food. Remember, when you see the food and you're hungry and you start to eat the food, we start to gulp it down. We eat standing up. We can't wait. We just kind of press the food into our mouth, hope for the best. But I want you to really chew your food and really savor the flavors, the smell, everything about the food. So I want to break down the taste for you. And sometimes when we crave certain tastes of foods, then I want you to know what your body's telling you and lean into them. And this will be in the downloadable so you can really memorize that. Number 1 is savory. That's the salty foods. When you crave saltiness, it means you might need some water and electrolyte regulations. Do succumb to it, but remember and try to lean into what your body is trying to tell you. Okay? There's a term called umami. It's becoming one of the 5 basic tastes. It was identified in 1907 by a Japanese scientist, and it's becoming all the words right now in umami on social media. While savoring a bowl of boiled tofu in kombu dashi, a broth made from kind of a kelp, like a sea vegetable, while he was savoring that, Dr. Kinue Ikata became so aware of this taste, and so it became the thing, right? It's like all the things that you get with, it's like a little bit of savory. It's like this unique flavor called umami. And it's a Asian flavored soup, like it's more MSG derived, if you know what I mean. It's like pho, soup, vegetables, think Chinese food, okay? The third taste that you would consider is bitter. And bitter taste buds are developed in human beings to prevent intake of poisonous substances in the body. So when you taste the bitterness in your food, it's not something you're going to regularly crave, but when you do taste it, you have to question, ooh, what is this, right? And it might be a ripeness of the fruit as well, okay? Sometimes that bitter and that weird taste might be the result of that unripeness. Sometimes when you do crave sweetness, it might be because your body is wanting energy, okay? Because it needs that carbohydrate for quick energy fix. And then sometimes when you do crave sourness in your taste buds, it may be to prevent intake of toxic substance, as well as to recognize, again, the ripeness of the fruits. So these are all the taste buds that we developed as human beings as a way to tune in and to understand what they mean. So the more you understand that, the more you can be one with this body who's always giving you signals through your brain, right? And I just want you to understand that, like going back to the umami flavor, it's all the things combined with sweet, salty, sour, and bitter, and even spicy. And that's the MSG flavor. It's the complex flavor in foods. The 12th thing that I really want you to think about is the smell of your food. When you savor the chewing of the food, the taste in your mouth, and then you smell the food, you get that experience of true joy and enjoyment. And when you're eating, I want you to focus on eating, right? You're chewing, tasting, and really enjoying being in the moment, but only eat. Don't be working at the desk. Don't be standing and gulping down the food. I want you to really chew your food and really savor the foods and enjoy the experience for what it is. The other principle that I want you to really stand for is to eat what's in season in your local area. So I live in Georgia, whatever is in season. When you belong to a CSA, right? Community Sustainable Agriculture, or you go to the farmer's market, they have fresh produce there, and you eat what's in season and really lean into what's in season and cook with those things and learn to really learn what those vegetables are. And that's a good sign. That's unprocessed foods that you can be consuming in the moment, in right for your season, because your body has this inherent oneness with nature, and it wants and needs the foods that's ripe in this very moment, right? And then second to the lastly, don't demonize foods. Don't be scared to eat, and don't say, oh my gosh, that McDonald's Happy Meal is the worst thing and I just ate it and it's the worst thing for you. Because what do you think it's going to happen when you think it's going to be the worst thing for you and you just ate it, right? Because I can tell you that sometimes when I'm on traveling schedule, or if I'm on a bind, or if I have to go from A to B and you've got kids, all you have available are fast food. So you have to make a quick decision to really succumb to your hunger pains, to get something down. You have no other options except the fast food. And it's a luxury, you guys, and we need to be grateful for it. Protein, carbohydrates, and fats are sourced from that, and your body might really do really well in that given moment. Not that that's the food of choice that I want to really promote, but sometimes it's not a bad thing, right? We want to do things in balance, and we want to have perspective over the foods that we eat. And then lastly, I want you to be open to possibilities without buying into certain ways of eating. Like I said, if you stand for plant-based and you judge everybody else who doesn't, or if you eat keto and you judge everybody else, and you eat, autoimmune paleo and that's all you believe and you judge everybody else, that's not a way to live your life, you guys. And it's really demonizing everybody else, and anything polarizing, anything that uproots your opinions and judgments against other people. All those things are things that are going to destroy you and destroy your health. And so it's not something I want you to buy into. I really want you to discern what's right for you. And that's really what this movement is all about with our, with our autoimmune movement, right? We're all about transforming. Trans means above and beyond form, right? Formation, right? So we want to go above and beyond the form. And if you look at my logo, it's the butterfly, right? From a caterpillar. It's a different entity, but we are transformed. And we can utilize food as medicine only when we as ourselves own our bodies and prime our bodies to receive what it needs to receive. I hope this has hit home for you. This is the wisdom that we want to instill through our programs. And if you have not done so, we offer no nonsense nutrition program all about this. And I teach you a different way, a different perspective with food. And it's a principle oriented foods, because I'm not interested in giving you a fish, right? Every time, and me standing there as the expert. I want you to be the expert in your own body and know exactly what to eat and have fun cooking and eating, right? And that's what this no nonsense nutrition for autoimmunity is all about. You can sign up for that link below, as well as we have now autoimmune yoga, where it's all about your opportunity for growth and abundance through the practice of yoga, because it mirrors what you do and it mirrors how you show up in your life. It really does transform you from the inside out. So I want to invite you to that. I can't talk today. I want to invite you to those. The links are below. Please sign up, and I'll see you on the inside, and I'll see you guys all next week. Thank you so much for joining in.